What's up? What's up? What's up? Your boy Domuto. We are back with another video. Today we're watching Totally Mark. Totally something Mark. Not Totally Mark. What is it? Totally not Mark. My fault. And we're watching every retcon in modern Dragon Ball. So I already watched the every retcon. Oh my god, I can't talk today. Every retcon in the last video he did, right? But I didn't react to it. I actually watched it with TSO Shay when he reacted to it, right? So I didn't want to watch the same video twice. You know, I ain't about to fake a reaction for y'all. You know, I never done that. But anyway, we about to get into the video, man, and yeah, let's go.
Last week, I covered all the retcons in classic Dragon Ball, and this week, I am retconning that list and expanding into the retcons of modern Dragon Ball. The list in this newer video that you are watching right now is the canon for Totally Not Mark moving forward. Do not question me, and so the following are not retcons. Number 1, Goku's tail. Number 2, Bulma's knowledge of the Dragon Balls. Number 11, Kunta-Woon's death. Number 14, radio waves. That one I just got wrong, so yeah, let's go with that. Number 19, Baba's powers. Number 23, the Dragon Balls have a creator, and many, many more. These are my retcons to the Totally Not Mark canon. The last video does not exist anymore, and you can forget what I said that time.
Oh, well, dude.
Alright, so you see what I'm doing here? That sucks, right? That is a bold-faced contradiction, and that is a terrible retcon. It's frustrating. And look, I'll hold my hand up. In my haste to try and find as many retcons as I could, I brought in my reach too far, and now I need to contradict the Totally Not Mark. I mean, what I meant to say was that I actually planned this video all along as a galaxy brain play to do some meta commentary by retconning my own video. Yeah, that'll do. There are obviously plenty of very overt retcons and contradictions in the Dragon Ball canon proper.
Okay.
The Dragon Balls can grant any wish? No, they can't. Vegeta signed up for the Tenkaichi Budokai to fight Gohan. No, he didn't. Trunks says that androids 19 and 20 destroyed his timeline. Trunks, why would you lie to us like that? I thought we were tight. No, not that tight. That one is even more complicated, and I don't want to get... This video's already giving me a headache. Okay, so the truth is, retcons that explicitly contradict what was said before can make us angry, confused, and more than anything, they can stick in our minds. It is often said that a viewer won't remember what you said, but they will recall how you made them feel. And due to this, we remember the retcons that made us confused or angry, and the rest just fade away into the background. And fittingly, in addition to many of you correctly pointing out the elements from last week's list that weren't retcons, there was a surprisingly large contingent that argued against retcons that I thought were basically inarguable. And now, after doing some digging, I think I know why. It turns out, first and foremost, that retcons themselves are very tricky literary devices to even discuss. So much so that actual literary scholars to this day debate their definition and application. So today, we are going to do what the so-called literary scholars couldn't and try to figure out what retcons were actually in Dragon Ball. And from there, march into the retcon-riddled Wild West of modern Dragon Ball to find out once and for all just how many retcons there actually are overall. Oh god, I can feel the migraine already. Hit the music.
Let's go, Totally Not Mark.
Alrighty, so as I said, before we get to all those juicy modern Dragon Ball retcons, we're going to have to take a step back, reassess exactly what a retcon even is, and, well, radically adjust our previous list. So, for that to begin, I want to establish two things. Number 1, lots of my retcons in the old video are just flat out not retcons. And number 2, most people's understanding of what a retcon actually isn't quite complete, including my own. The second point here is actually a big part of why I included a section reading the dictionary definition of retcons in the first place. When people think of retcons, they almost exclusively think of changes that contradict something previous in the story, which are retcons, but not all retcons are contradictions.
Right.
If we throw the definition back up on screen for a sec, I can pretty easily highlight my error because it's right here. I focused hard on the imposes bit and failed to properly consider the previously described events part. In order for something to be a retcon, it doesn't necessarily have to outright contradict what came before. It can be supplementary or additive, but whatever it's adding, supplementing, or contradicting, it needs to do so to something already established by the narrative. And so, with all that understood, let's retcon my previous list real quick. So first up, we have a batch of these that, well, they're just plain wrong. Okay, yeah, chemist or physicist or whatever you are. I hear you. Radio waves are not distinct to electromagnetic waves. They are simply a subset. I just misread Google. That's on me. But even beyond that, you had other outright wrong things like Bulma not knowing the Dragon Balls fly away, even though she absolutely does, and Boo's origin being changed from time immemorial to being created by Bibidi. I just had that last one backwards. And more than that, the time immemorial thing came from a random interview, no less. And if we throw all those retcons away, we instantly lose this many off the list. Okay, so let's get that graphic off the screen. It's making me sad. And so this next section I'm calling not retcons, but reveals. As I said before, a retcon, whether contradictory or just adding new information, needs to be affecting a piece of story information that was previously established. When you have new
like a thin line
information
between
that isn't
that, bro.
affecting something previously established, that is just a reveal, or a revelation, or an evolution. Look, it can be many things, but it's not necessarily a retcon. This, unfortunately, is by far the biggest group of mistakes I made in the last video.
Okay.
You could only stay in the hyperbolic time chamber for 48 hours? Well, that is new information to us, but it also doesn't affect anything previously established. It's just a reveal. Demon King Piccolo can clone himself via an egg? Well, yeah, sure, we didn't know that before, but he's a magic demon guy, and the unknown trumps all. And don't even get me started on this one. But
we did not
ultimately,
know that.
I just got too caught up
With
on the
Piccolo.
idea that any new information about something already existing is retroactive continuity. And as a result, we crossed these guys out. Okay, so then lastly, we have the trickiest of my mistakes, and well, they're not actually so much mistakes as they are debatable. And you guys can debate these too in the comments if you want. I'm sure you will. To explain this, let's look at number 47. So what I said here is true. The entirety of the Saiyan arc, Vegeta does not once refer to himself as a prince or royalty or anything of the sort. The only way he describes himself is specifically as an elite Saiyan warrior, a top class and so on. Then, an arc later, it comes to light that Vegeta is in fact the prince of the Saiyans, and that quickly becomes a staple of his character. By even the correct definition, this is a retcon. It is a piece of new information that imposes a different interpretation on previously described events or information. However, someone could absolutely make the argument that just because Vegeta never once said he was a prince, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a retcon. This just goes back to the previous idea that most people think of retcons as purely contradictory, but however, as I've now established, sometimes retcons just expand or tweak the context of old information rather than outright changing or contradicting.
Just adding
and
to
this
the
would
story.
be one of those times. Or at least it could be. I mean, it really depends on who you ask. Now, I think the best way to compare and contrast this is to look at two key pieces of info in the Saiyan saga. Goku being a Saiyan and Piccolo being a Namekian. They both sound very similar, but only one of these is for sure a retcon. For Piccolo, it was originally stated by himself and everyone else to be a demon. That is his nature. It was established as a fact. Then the Saiyan arc comes around and says, well, actually, he's not a demon. He's an alien race known as Namekian. That is a change or contradiction to something that was explicitly established by the narrative. That is, of course, before Daima, but okay, I'll get onto that later. Okay, so now let's compare that with Goku's Saiyan reveal. There are many times in original Dragon Ball where Goku's true nature is speculated or alluded to, but it is never outright established as a fact. And as a result, whether Goku's alien origin is a retcon depends entirely on how you interpret the story. If you personally read Dragon Ball and concluded from all of those comments that Goku was factually assumed to be an Earthling before, just with a weird tail, then yeah, it is a retcon. But if you assume that his true nature was never actually established, rather left vague to be filled in later, then, well, surprise, it's not a retcon for you. And so, with all of this in mind, we have a final category that I will call nebulous retcons that stay on this list, but with highlights or asterisks. Okay, and with that, we have retconned our list from a whopping 77 elements all the way down to a measly, smaller, but still impressive 38. If nothing else, I think you can see that the original point I made in the video still stands. Toriyama's writing style is chaotic and freeform, and as a result, these were nightmares to iron out. But hey, in reviewing these, I actually found 2 more retcons to add to the list, making the total for original Dragon Ball 40 retcons. Okay. And one final thing, I can already see people commenting and typing up replies about how a few of these remaining ones aren't retcons, like this one with Goku never seeing another human. Okay, yeah, I saw all of your replies, but while most of my retcons may have not been retcons, I am right on this one. And I can prove it. In the Q&A at the end of the volume, Toriyama himself answers a reader's comment by admitting that what he wrote retcons that earlier sentence from Goku. Okay? There is no debate. That is 100% a retcon. Doesn't matter how you've interpreted it. This is how he intended it to be written, and he concedes in that moment that it is in fact a retcon. And there's a similar story for this one of Raditz going to the afterlife following his death at Piccolo's hands. I know Kami speculates an explanation for why that happened, but the fact is, it was established by the narrative that people killed by demons cannot move into the afterlife. And then Raditz did anyway. Just because Toriyama works on explaining that retcon with Kami and then later with the Namekian retcon, that doesn't mean that
is a retcon,
wasn't there. Okay. We've done the training. It's time to tackle the retcon nightmare that is the modern Dragon Ball collection.
Oh, this is about to be
all right, let's kick things off with Jocko the Galactic Patrolman. Number 1. Tights might not necessarily be a retcon, but the fact Bulma and her family knows Jocko in addition to Tights possessing the ability to contact him certainly is. It makes the gang's concerns and struggles following the Saiyan arc to find a way to Namek utterly nonsensical. Because why didn't they just contact Jocko? Even her dad knew him. Number 2. Goku arrives on Earth wearing Saiyan armor apparently. That's it. That's the retcon. Number 3. According to Jocko and Minus, Planet Vegeta exploded in the year 739, which is not 737 as previously thought. And as a result, Goku's age gets weird. Number 4. On the topic of Dragon Ball Minus, Goku's origin is retconned completely, with it contradicting what Raditz outlined at the start of the Saiyan arc. He wasn't sent to destroy it, but instead to escape the planet Vegeta's fate. Number 5. In Chapter 1 of Dragon Ball, the license plate on Bulma's car reads PF8801. However, the very same car seen in Jocko the Galactic Patrolman reads 01CC05. Number 6. In Chapter 113 of Dragon Ball Z, Bardock appears as a memory of Frieza's. However, his design is entirely different in Dragon Ball Minus, and if that isn't clear enough for you, it is also entirely different in Broly, where the exact moment Frieza is recalling is shown. Number 7. Frieza openly talks about Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God to his underlings, which retcons what his underlings knew to begin with. In the Namek arc, both Zarbon and Dodoria are convinced he destroyed the planet to defend against the population rising up. There is nothing to do with a Super Saiyan, much less a Super Saiyan God. And speaking of which, let's move into Battle of Gods. Number 8. Beerus, a god of destruction, is the new most powerful being in the universe, despite never being mentioned or alluded to by anyone that should have known, including Shin and Kinkai, who have apparently been dreading his return. Number 9. Beerus takes the blame for Planet Vegeta's destruction away from Frieza. How nice. Number 10. Beerus drove the dinosaurs to extinction on Earth, which, I mean, it's a strange thing to throw in there because there are tons of dinosaurs on Earth, and there's even one in this film. Number 11. This one doesn't come from Battle of Gods, but it is right there. I don't know why you say that. Goku and his friends return, an OVA that took place a little bit earlier than this in the timeline. Vegeta is retconned to having a younger living brother, despite Raditz specifically confirming that only he, Nappa, Vegeta, and Goku remained following the planet's destruction.
But Vegeta even mentioned him.
Actually, you know what? Wait, before we get to that, this one isn't actually a retcon, but it is one that people get wrong quite a lot, so let's talk about it. So once it's revealed that Beerus trapped Old Kai inside the Z-Sword, people got all up in arms about it, complaining that it was actually a witch that did that and it was an inconsistent retcon, blah blah blah. However, if you cast your minds back in chapter 285 of Dragon Ball Z, Old Kai simply says that a quote terrible guy, end quote, almost as terrible as Boo, sealed him away in the Z-Sword, which is totally fine and not at all a retcon. In actuality, this is something that people get confused. It was a witch that made Old Kai look old. She didn't trap him in a sword. But yeah, anyways, not a retcon, so let's jump on to Yo Son Goku and his friends return. Alright, so I know I said I wasn't going to do specials and old movies, but this is a new special, and more importantly, this one is canon to the story, so leave me alone. Plus, there's only 2 of them here, so whatever. Number 12. At the end of the Buu arc, a wish was made on the Dragon Balls for humanity to forget Majin Buu, but to recall that Satan saved the world from something. However, in this canon special, the public explicitly shout out that Satan defeated Majin Buu. Number 13. Also in this film, we see Goten and Trunks fail the fusion dance the first time and then immediately reset. This could very easily be a mistake, but it's very difficult to believe that Avocado waited for Gotenks, and moreover, if this was my first time watching this, I would have thought they retconned the timeout of the fusion dance entirely. But yeah, that's the special. Time for Resurrection F. Number 14. Frieza got to keep his body in the afterlife, and hell gets reinvented. Number 15. Shenlong gives Pilaf 2 wishes instead of the usual 3 Shenlong is capable of granting, for some reason. Number 16. Despite Shenlong having demonstrated that he could bring back Cell's victims in the lead up to the Cell games without concern for their body's condition, he is suddenly unable to bring back Frieza to life because of his body's condition. Number 17. In addition to Lord Beerus,
Okay, I
Frieza
get you.
and King Cold were also aware of Majin Buu, despite the fact that within Chapter 115 of Dragon Ball Z, Frieza claims that he didn't think anyone else in the universe surpassed Captain Ginyu. Okay, Universe 6 tournament time. Number 18.
Well, he never
in Dragon
seen
Ball
Buu
Z
fight,
Chapter
though.
71, Guru claims that the Dragon Clan are the ones who created the Dragon
just
Balls.
told about
However,
Majin
in
Buu.
Dragon Ball Super, the Super Dragon Balls are the original Dragon Balls that the Namekians, refined? Chipped away, I don't know. They got them from those big bad boys and yeah, changes, it's a retcon, blah blah blah. Number 19. Zuno exists and can answer every single question ever, which would have come in handy for Beerus to find an answer to his Super Saiyan God question instead of searching the cosmos for Saiyans to interrogate almost at random. Number 20. Shenlong cannot tell Bulma and Beerus where the last Super Dragon Ball is. He says, and I quote, "Finding a single thing in the vast universe is not within my powers." End quote. Again, this is another limitation. Number 21. The Saiyans' original homeworld was not Planet Vegeta, but Planet Sadala. Number 22. Trunks' hair changes color from lavender to teal canonically.
Yeah.
Prior to seeing Trunks again since the Cell arc, Bulma describes him as, quote, "a young man with blue hair." She has only ever seen him with purple hair in the manga and the anime. Number 23. Despite just about requiring everyone's collective power on Earth plus Frieza during Resurrection F to secure a clear signal, Kid Trunks powering up to Super Saiyan is now enough for Goku to lock onto and teleport from Beerus' planet all the way to Earth. Number 24. In
stronger.
episode 50, we're told that Supreme Kais have access to, quote, time rings, and thus can move freely forwards through time, with it technically being possible to go back in time also. However, that's sort of frowned upon. Apparently, this has always been the case and would have come in pretty handy locating Majin Buu or aiding Supreme Kai in gathering information for that effort. Number 25. In Dragon Ball Super Episode 56, Yajirobe reveals that he survived the android's attack. Trunks didn't even know this. Number 26. In Episode 60 of Dragon Ball Super, Goku reveals that he and
Probably know
Chi-Chi
who
have
it is.
never kissed. Now, okay, that might not really be a retcon, but it definitely reshapes how I thought their relationship worked. Number 27.
hitting it.
I was
He
going to
ain't
say
even
that Trunks
kissing it.
using the Mafaba without any risk or drain to himself was a retcon considering the use of it killed Master Mutaito and Roshi respectively. But then I remembered that Piccolo and Kami used it during the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai with no drain on them at all. So, was that a retcon back in Dragon Ball that I missed? Number 28. In Dragon Ball
Depends on
Super
the-
Episode 63, Vegeta
depends on the
destroys
user,
the Room
probably.
of Spirit and Time from within and appears as if it was simply a room within the lookout itself, not another dimension. Number 29. The Patara Earrings fusion is permanent only for Kais and lasts 1 hour for mortals now. Despite initially being described as an item that will keep two beings together forever, this kinda contradicts Boo's internal gas explanation during the Boo saga, though that was originally presented as speculation. Number 30. The amount of power expressed drains the time remaining in the Patara fusion. Number 31. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 324, Bulma says that she hardly ever sees Goku and that she hasn't seen him in 5 years. The Tournament of Power, however, takes place 4 years prior to the events Bulma makes this claim in Chapter 322 of Dragon Ball Z, so that doesn't make sense anymore. Number 32. While we're talking
That
about
shit
End
don't
of
count.
Z, in Chapter 325, Goku explains that he's been waiting to meet Oob so that he can train him and have a good fight. The way he expresses this insinuates that he's not being excited by a challenge for a very long time. Piccolo even expresses as much. However, all through Dragon Ball Super, Goku has encountered astronomically more powerful foes than that which Oob could ever hope
We
to
can nitpick
challenge.
this the whole
He's the
time, bro.
reincarnation of Boo, yes,
We can
but
nitpick
Goku
all the
has
Super.
Beerus and
We can
Whis
just
and
skip
Jiren and
this.
Broly, and the list honestly can go on forever. With Super, this interaction makes little to no sense now. Number 33. Goku having access to Super Saiyan God without ritual or time limit contradicts what was established in Battle of Gods. He has access to God Ki, yes, not the ritual transformation. You could try to make the argument that Goku accessed that form from before via the ritual, but Vegeta has never undergone that ritual and had access to it during Broly at will. Number 34. The tingly back feeling as an explanation for how to achieve Super Saiyan. There's precedent for how Super Saiyan is achieved both in Dragon Ball Z's original manga
I mean, it
through
could just be
Goku's
Universe
training
6,
of
it's
Gohan,
different
and in
universe.
Super with Vegeta's training of Kaba during the Universe 6 tournament arc. Number 35. In the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Roshi explains that he'll just get in the way if he continues trying to fight alongside Goku and co. However, his inclusion in the Tournament of Power flies in the face of this claim. They argue that his skills and strategy may help, but still chooses him over several much stronger alternatives. What happened to not getting in the way, Roshi? Huh? Answer me. Number 36.
Yo,
Dragon
your ass,
Ball Super
Roshi.
Broly retcons the character Broly and Paragus into being additional Saiyans who survived Planet Vegeta's destruction. Number 37. It's demonstrated that the legend of the Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God was known by Frieza, his henchmen, and common Saiyans alike. For Frieza to only reference the Super Saiyan and not the Super Saiyan God ever seems rather fishy, and furthermore, given that Vegeta was effectively raised alongside Raditz with other adult Saiyans like Nappa and Co., it's also strange that he heard about the Super Saiyan but not the God variant. Number 38. In Dragon Ball Z Chapter 102, Frieza says, and I quote, "When I attacked the Saiyan planet and fought the king, I won without the need to transform. Your father didn't take long to dispatch." End quote. In Dragon Ball Super Broly, no such fight between Frieza and King Vegeta takes place. He simply wipes out the race with a single attack. Number 39.
You probably wasn't
Shenlong
just
only
showing on
granted
screen,
one
bruh.
wish to Chilai and Lemo. Number 40. Gohan didn't catch the Sensu Bean because it's hard for him to see without glasses. Number 41. Pan is seen
Yeah, that's
flying
been
around
weird.
quite a few times in Dragon Ball Super as a baby. However, her story in Superhero is learning
Oh, she-
how to fly. Number 42. Vegeta's meditation training. Goku has done this sort of training in the past. However, in Superhero,
You could say she just. I mean, as a baby, she couldn't control it. Kind of like Jack from The Incredibles. You can just be like, she couldn't control her power when she's just an infant. Now when she kind of controlled it, now it's harder when she's an actual kid. I don't know.
he acts as though he has never seen or heard of such a method. Number 43. Vegeta says that Jiren wasn't much stronger than either of them, that the real difference came in how efficient he was with his movements and power. Number 44. Piccolo asked Dende to unlock his power the same way Guru did for Krillin and Gohan because Dende is the same type of Namekian that Guru was. But there's a bit of a hiccup. Dende says that he's not old enough to do that, so he suggests to Piccolo that he can use the Dragon Balls to gain that power up. However, in doing so, Shenlong would technically be performing a wish that is outside the power of his creator. This would be a retcon on its own, but that's not where this ends. According to Dende, he can, quote, upgrade the Dragon Balls to grant them that ability. And that upgrade is simply him pouring water over the statue of Shenlong. Excuse me,
We
what?
ain't gotta do that. We ain't gotta.
Number 45. When
That's a
granting
rare
Piccolo's
comment.
first wish, Shenlong threw in a little extra, a new transformation. We had seen Purunga throw in something extra when he repaired Krillin's body for free, but Shenlong doing this is totally new. Number 46. Bulma wishes to have the ass of a young girl and to have her eyelashes extended. It is also suggested after the wishes are made that she has made wishes like these before. In chapter 324 of Dragon Ball Z, it's suggested that she hasn't used the Dragon Balls 4 cosmetic enhancements to make herself look younger yet. Okay, I'm going to try to list off a few retcons from Dragon Ball Daima now, but keep in mind that the series has not yet completed as of the making of this video, so these are subject to change. Number 47.
Okay.
Half Saiyans go through a growth spurt suddenly at 15, which contradicts Gohan's gradual growth over time in Dragon Ball Z. Number 48.
Yeah.
The Namekians are originally from the Demon Realm, which is hilarious
Well,
because
big growth
that makes
spurt,
this sort of an
'cause-
Uno reverse retcon. Number 49. The number of wishes Shenlong offers you out of 3 is determined by how familiar he is with you, which retroactively explains why Pilaf and Sorbet only got 2 wishes in Resurrection F and why Chilai only got 1 in Dragon Ball Super Broly. Number 50. The method through which the Supreme Kai and Kibito split has been changed from the Dragon Balls to Majin Buu again, which brings us to the end of Super. But I did notice some extra retcons along the way for Dragon Ball Z, so here are some bonus retcons. Number 51. In Dragon Ball Z, Kami says that the dragon can group revive people killed by a shared circumstance. But when it comes to reviving people brought back who were killed by individuals, that is limited to within a calendar year, which is another limitation on the Dragon Balls. Number 52. The balls cannot bring back to life someone who has died from natural causes, no matter what. Number 53. In
Wow.
chapter 129, Guru is contacted by King Kai, but then Guru communicates telepathically with Dende. Guru is established to not be able to relay information via telepathy as he needs Nail to deliver a message earlier in the story. Therefore, Kaio is facilitating this communication. However, it has also been established that Kaio needs to be in contact with you in order for you to connect with someone else. Number 54. In chapter 109 of Dragon Ball Z, Vegeta says that coming back from the brink of death won't work if he does it to himself, rather than the original claim of Saiyans always coming back from the brink of death stronger. Number 55. In Dragon Ball Z chapter 200, Shenlong can restore the people killed by Cell, despite their bodies not being intact, contradicting a previously established rule. And so we finally arrive at the end of this long, tediously
crazy.
painful journey. Did I basically read and watch through all of Dragon Ball for this video? Yes. Did it bring me
did.
to the brink of my sanity this time? Absolutely, and
You
I
had to
won't be getting
rewatch
a
all
Zenkai
this?
boost
It's
for that.
crazy.
But the good news is, I think both myself and anyone that made it this far into the video should come out with perhaps a better understanding of retcons as a literary device.
I see that.
They really are a
Yeah.
tricky thing to dissect, especially with a writing style like Akira Toriyama's. We did get there in the end, but as a special bonus for anyone who is still watching, if anyone is curious, as part of the reviewing process and fixing of the retcon list from the prior video, I pulled my writer Tyson off of his other project, sat down with him, and had him review every single retcon I outlined in the previous video with
Damn,
me
Tyson.
one by one until we sorted things out. And wouldn't you know it, we had the foresight to record the entire thing. So if that sounds interesting to you, we have uploaded that entire retcon review debate session over on my second channel. You can find the link for that popping up in the corner right now or in the video description down below. But for now, I think I am going to go outside and touch some grass because it is my...
Alright. I pity that he had to do all this work for this video. Hey, shout out to him. I mean, he loves this. Alright, shout out to Totally Not Mark. Yeah, there's some good retcons in here. I feel like you was nitpicking the end of Z and the super thing. Like, you was nitpicking that one. I'd be like, come on, we know. But I guess you're doing your job, so I can't be like, damn, you don't nitpick all that. But fire video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Check out another video right here about some Dragon Ball or anime shit right here, and another one right here about some Dragon Ball or anime stuff right here. And I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.